But let's talk about when you began playing sports. Did you play a prep?
No, but you have to ask him, did he play sports?
Simon, a cheat, bro.
I play football. I did swimming as well. I did basketball. I was a captain of the school challenge quiz team. So that's what I did. I played cricket as well.
Wagwan sports fans, welcome back to another very special episode. I'm your host Joe Mar.
I'm Rush.
And this is This or That Sports TV, the place you guys come to get the best, most riveting and obviously interesting sports topics, discussions and debates on the internet.
Yes, man. But before we get into this video today, we want to say, bro, how we change it up for them, sir?
As in, bro, we have to do it. Like, adjust the style. You get me? So we can't give them the one environment. You get me? So we give them like a scenery, backdrop.
Love it. But before we get into the video, people, don't forget to like this one, leave a comment, and subscribe. I don't leave off one, but may I leave it for him?
Share the video. I mean, yo, camera person, give me a shot right now.
Yeah, close up.
If each person right now watching this video share this video and gets us at least 5 subscribers, do you know how many subscribers that gets us by the end of the day? So just share the video now, bro.
Alright, my people. So today we have another episode of This or That Sports TV Getting to Know. Yes. And this is our series where we interview prominent figures in Jamaican sports. And today we have not an athlete. Probably he's an athlete in his own right. We're going to talk to him and see where we get to.
We are going to see if he's an athlete.
And we are going to see. So stay tuned for that.
But prominent figure in sports, definitely. That's an understatement. The niche that we've recently, I would say we've broken into it. You know, accredited journalists and all.
Yeah.
But that niche, that was something that this man has been, has been in and has, I'd say, dominated for the better part of a decade, right? So we finally get the chance for whatever reason with him, and it's been a long time coming. And without further ado, let's bring on Simon Preston, better known for Reggae Boyz content.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing?
Yes, Simon. How are you doing, man?
Doing well. Thanks for coming to my neck of the woods. It's a pleasure to be on. I know a long time we've been trying to do this, and I'm really happy that we can have a sit and chat and talk everything really. Looking forward to it.
Alright, people, it's going to get interesting. Stay tuned.
Alright, so to kick it off, we just introduced the man himself, Reggae Boyz commentary, Simon Preston. Today we're going to just have a little chat, a little banter, you get me? So I get to know more about the man who inspired the genre. We always hear people like Ryan pay homage to the work that he's done, and deservingly so, because he's done a lot of work. People like us who obviously are going to try, reach him there and then surpass him eventually, you get me? So, but for now we have to work towards that, and that's the point of the game. So thanks again for coming on, Simon. We want to start off from where it all began. Where did Simon Preston begin?
Well, born and raised north in St. Andrew, Jamaica. I'm a third generation Jamaican, so grandparents and parents both born here as well. My dad's side of the family from England, my mother's side from India, and that's my mixture in a nutshell. But where did it begin in terms of sporting things? I would say one of my brothers, I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. One of my brothers, Andrew, he taught me everything there is about football. I would carry a book around with me with figures and statistics and data, and he basically helped me get involved into liking and watching sports. Growing up, it was all about movies and stuff when I was around 4 or 5, but when I would say I'd really like football in particular and sports as a whole, I would say 6. So when I was in the late 90s thereabouts, that was the point for me that I would say, yeah, sports was a part of my life.
I hear you. I'm going to take a walk. Alright, so Simon, we spoke about how you began, the love for sports. But let's talk about when you began playing sports. Did you play a prep?
No, but you have to ask him, did he play sports?
Did you play sports? Did you play sports? Obviously, we know the answer to this, but did you play sports at all?
I did, yes, to be honest with you, I did play. I played football at Colts and ISA level. Under 19, it wasn't Manning Cup because I went to Hillel Academy, so that's a private school, so we played in the private school league. And that's for schools like Bel Air and AISK, Maths Unlimited. Quality academics, exactly. So that's just for those private schools. So I did play football, I did swimming as well, I did basketball, I was a captain of the school challenge quiz team, so that's what I did. I played cricket as well. I was actually at Melbourne Cricket Club in 2007, part of their under 15 program. So, and I was mentored by Carlton Barr Jr. and Marlon Samuel. So those were key figures during that time. But I would say the furthest that I went in any sport would have to be cricket and swimming in terms of the progression of it.
All right, so real quick, because you mentioned a myriad of sports just now. I want to dissect a few, because I myself would have been involved in many sports, like a lot of sports. So.
Yeah.
What position did you play when playing basketball? Me and Rush played basketball, by the way.
Yeah, you know, it's a funny thing when you're in the prep and primary school leagues, because if you have height, they just put you at center.
Yeah.
So when I was 12 at the time, 5'10", 5'11" at the time, they just put you at center, and that's exactly where I was. Same in high school as well, where I played briefly basketball in high school. It was the same thing as well. Center is where I played at a push power forward in 1 and 2 games, but most games were center, stand under the post. But as we both know, the game has changed so much since then.
Well, yeah, because obviously we're both guards, and we're both tall. So,
right.
And what events you said you swam for Hillel?
Right, I swam for Hillel. We were part of the team that won back-to-back prep school championships and also finished top 10 in the high school championships. I did the breaststroke. That was my speciality because of my height. So it involved a lot of the use of the legs, like a frog-like movement. So the 50-meter breaststroke and the freestyle were my best events, but the breaststroke is what I like so much, and I also excelled in that as well.
And then finally, because you said you were a solid cricketer, you know, based on Simon's opinion, Simon was a good cricketer, you know. What were your strengths in cricket?
It was right arm off spin. That was I would say my good strength. I did need some assistance from the wind at times to give it the deviation and the balance that I wanted. In terms of the batting perspective, more of a pinch hitter, the number 7, number 8, just go and swing my bat. I think there's some work of improvement even today, because it's been a while since I picked up the bat, but it was more that number 7, number 8, and because the cover drive and stuff like that was something that I really enjoyed.
So a weird thing in cricket, an over 6'4", especially spin bowler. It doesn't sit well with me. You know, people at that height should be coming over and throwing it down at 80 miles per hour. But I mean, to each his own.
We'll take it. All right, Simon. So that's school, and that's actually play.
That's his athletic career.
Yeah. Let's talk about how you got into your actual career now.
Wow.
This is your bread and butter. How did you get into journalism? Well, first, how we know about Simon Preston? We want to talk about that little bit before we remember this World Cup shows thing. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Long time ago.
Long time.
A couple more pounds ago, Simon.
Exactly.
If I'm okay to say that, you know.
Yeah, you're right. You're
how did that go
right.
and how you got into that? What happened after that?
Yeah, that was 2010. Can you imagine? That was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Time really flies. That, I would say, was the beginning of everything for me, because that sports quiz show basically opened the door for the path that I am on today. It was a football-based quiz show where you had high school kids that had to submit, a show reel and also come for an interview. 16 kids were selected for the actual competition, and then from there the winner got a chance to be an analyst on local television, and I turned out to be the winner at the end of the day, and I enjoyed it. It was something like, I felt like I was preparing it for my entire life in a sense, because I'd always carry a book with me with notes and everything of that nature, and the questions were on World Cup trivia, football trivia. So it was in a sense up my alley. So the preparation for me was fun. It was a lot of questions, yes, to prepare for, but in a sense it was a wonderful experience. Going into it though, honestly, I felt it would have been a challenge, bearing in mind my opponent at the time, who was eventually the run-up, Naranda Brown, who was halftime TV right now. He was so quick on the buzzer. When you hear what is, bzz, he's pressing the buzzer. I wasn't that quick on the buzzer. So I knew when it comes to the first round questions and the second rounds, I just had to be lethal, flawless, get everything right. So by the time the buzzer came around, I would have a healthy lead, because he would sometimes miss up the questions in the early months. So I ensured I had that healthy lead by the time the buzzer came around, and it was a nail biter in the end, coming down to a sudden death question.
Man.
And that took me back to something that you said earlier. You've been preparing for this all your life, because you said that at 6 your brother would give you a book to study sports and football.
Exactly.
So you see how it came full circle.
Writing down results of Jamaica's matches from the 90s and telling me about that 98 campaign, because my earliest memory was actually the World Cup itself in a sporting itself, but not the qualifiers. I don't have a vivid memory of that. So he would map out and say, this is what Walter Boyd did, this is what Dean Sewell did, this is what Shorty Malcolm did, and Ricardo Gardner was doing at that period of time as well, and Gregory Messam coming from Taurus. So it was in that period of time that I would say, he guided me and helped me and pushed me onto a path where I eventually make this a passion of mine.
So Simon, one thing that me personally, I'm not sure what was Rush's approach, but me personally, my approach to This or That Sports TV, I wanted to bring an academic aspect to it, as you hear the way how I attempt to articulate myself and the type of words that I use. And that's something that I would have stolen from your book, right? Other people might want to have been more down to earth, or like more have the ability to relate to the people, which Rush does better than I am, in my opinion. For the most part, I attempt to speak, right? How do you say like your academic history influenced your journalistic history?
Honestly, I have to give a lot of credit to the institutions I went to. I went to University of the West Indies, where I majored in journalism, and I also minored in French and Spanish, and also Hillel Academy as well. Yes, we had smaller classrooms, and we were forced to do subjects outside of our comfort zone, so we had to do a humanity. We had to do one of the business courses, business, econ, or both. We had to do a foreign language, French or Spanish, or both. We had to do a science. So I think those elements coming together made a massive role in terms of preparing for life, beyond school.
Simon, your mind is obviously something special, like a gift that you have to be able to remember statistics and historic occasions or historic events. Is this something you would have worked on, or do you think you're like blessed savantism or something like that? Because normal people can't do what it is that you do.
I think it comes from two elements. One, having a passion for it, really, really enjoying what you're doing, makes the job so much easier and make you wanting to go that extra mile, that extra hour. So that for me was very, very important. And I think, going in that school element of that repetition of learning the foreign languages, French and Spanish, it was all about patterns. And I've looked at sports in the same manner as well. The figures, the statistics as well, I've looked at it in the same note. And I think that has contributed to the memory that I've had, and also being able to, there's also some things that you can take that can enhance your memory as well. You have some pills called Pharmaton, which is enhance the brain and sends more oxygen to the brain. So there are certain things I do to ensure that at the end of the day, all of those elements come together.
Cheat, bro.
Pharmaton.
All right.
Not a sponsor, by the way, but yeah.
Yeah, I want to give people shout out. But yeah, one Simon.
Yeah.
All right. So the one thing that we have in common, not one thing, but one of the things that we have in common, and the platform that you use to explore your wealth of knowledge, is on YouTube. And I can say for sure that you are one of, if not the pioneer in what we do. So, how did you get started in that? What was it? What was the entrance like? Was it hard? What was the crowd like? The audience? Were you welcoming? Tell about the YouTube stuff.
Yeah. All right. So I'll start in around 2014. That's where I would start. That I wanted to look for highlights of a Manchester United QPR game. Louis van Gaal's first home game of the season. Well, second home game, and I wanted to see the goals because Man U won 4-0. I typed in on YouTube, Man U 4, QPR 0. And it was an interesting thumbnail. I clicked on it, and it was actually a talking head talking about the match. It was a Manchester United fan channel. Yeah. And it gave me the thought that we don't have anything like this in Jamaica. And my passion being Jamaican football. We have forums of that nature where people type, but I just felt in a video format that something that was lacking, and I just felt that it was something that I was capable of doing and pursuing, having the database and knowing all players in the diaspora who have Jamaican heritage, and that's where I would say that inspiration came from. So honestly, Stephen Howson for me is one of my favorite YouTubers, and I take a lot of inspiration from him and the work that he started back then.
Right. And how are you welcomed by the people? Was it hard to get the subscribers up and the views up? Because we have already the challenges with that, but how was it when you just started? I can't imagine that.
Yeah, my first 1,000 subscribers came after 11 months, and this was in 2016, so it took quite some time. In the initial phase, it was difficult. You had like 7 views or 9 views for a video, 22 views. It was challenging because everything that people wanted at that time was just highlights. Why are you not posting the game highlights? Why are you not posting goals? that is what we want to see. We don't want to see somebody talking. So it was challenging in the beginning, and you got those sort of comments, but it didn't deter me because my passion has always been about analysis and commentary. So I just thought that I would just continue along this line, and I looked at it as an avenue because YouTube is open to literally almost everyone in the world, and that eventually there would be persons that would gravitate towards that information. So that's the reason why I've kept with it, and it's amazing how time has gone by so quickly since that time in 2016.
And Simon, future aspirations, we'll close it off of that because we spoke about where it began, we spoke about your current career. What do you hope to accomplish from your media career, both conventional media and new media on YouTube? Where do you want to be?
I would say that I would like to ensure that my strengths are utilized best. So in terms of on that online space, I think that I would like to be able to ensure that sports teams, Jamaican sports team, especially like our national football team, men and women, are given the right information in preparing for matches, tournaments, competition. Because for me, that is my passion, in order to know the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition, data, and ensuring that that can be something that is viable for myself and also long term. So I look at myself in that role of a match analyst, a video analyst down the road, and that's something that I would say I'm aspiring towards, and it's something that's needed because every team, European team that is, they have it. People might laugh and say our delegation is bigger than our playing staff. There's a reason for that. When France won the World Cup, they have team motivator, they have 5 physios, they have 3 analysts. So it just gives you a perspective of how serious they take every role that is disciplined. So it made the job easier for Didier Deschamps at the end of the day. And all teams need it. USA has it, Canada has it. So why can't we? We just need to realize the importance of that, and also by extension, social media by extension.
So are you saying that you might aspire to take a step away from the media aspect to work with the Reggae Boyz in an analytical role?
If the opportunity presents itself, I'd be open to it.
Yeah.
Understood. Well said. Well said.
Well, if him leave the niche for go
We
take up
took over, bro.
we will fit right into his slot, right?
For sure. All right, my people. Reggae Boyz commentary. Man himself, Simon Preston. Thank you for coming. You know, I hope that you guys really enjoy this one. And before we leave, don't forget the housekeeping. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to this video. Stay tuned for more. Verses are come. You know, some more football talk are come.
Bro, I feel like set on the next video we're gonna leak Simon Preston with some quick fire questions.
I feel so.
Because watch him, bro, when him there behind the camera, behind him nice decks, you get me saying I'm in a room with him fat. Don't feel so we now watch a thing. With him bag of jerseys, him have time to think about what he must say.
Watch what we're going now.
When him up on this side, so you think I give him a chance to think?
Wow.
So people stay tuned for all them bad things there, you know?
Alright, my people. But for now, this was Untitled Sports TV. This is Reggae Boyz commentary, Simon Preston. And we're out.